Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. This is my presentation lecture on scheduling technique for highway construction project, and I am Professor Adnan Khatib. Let's begin. Now, we all know that scheduling a highway project is a complex project. It's a complex process, and we have seen and we've experienced over the years, both as a executing engineers as well as the general public, that most of the highway projects are not completed in time. This stands true for all the all over the world, and it's very difficult to schedule a project and complete the project, especially the highway projects, because of its different nature. It is very important to understand the concept behind scheduling of this highway project. So my today's lecture will focus on all these issues. Why we need to do this? Because there is a substantial increase in the number and magnitude of delays in the construction of highway project that mostly results in cost escalations, and often the project that has been that is supposed to completed previous year are postponed to the next year. So this is one of the reasons that we must understand the concept. We must understand the values that should be used in, conceiving a highway project right from the beginning. And obviously, this may be the result of an inefficient construction process that you find in many of the many parts of the world. Now, what happens is that all those delays can endanger public safety, increasing the number of the claims and because the loss of public funds. Sometimes we have seen that the construction project, we have to detour the existing highway because of addition of new segment or new lane, and sometimes this delays these are very dangerous, as well as an excessive delays are costly. And because of the delays caused to the user, it often results in an accident, because the vehicle user, they wants to go early. They are known to travel on those roads as fast as they could, and because of the inefficient geometric detour that has been provided or any other thing, this can always have a safety problem. And as we can all understand, as highway professional, accuracy in scheduling has historically been a complex task to implement. Now let's see what are the scheduling process one by one, and I'll try to explain this in detail. So it is composed of various steps, as you all know. The first thing is to determine the contract duration. Now, is the time value allowed for a project completion as determined by the sponsoring agency or highway authorities of an area? In most of the cases, it is part of the contract document, and it is set in early bidding stage. because contract time has a major effect on the whole construction process. It has to be based on reasonable, realistic assumptions. Severe time limitations placed on construction will result in high bidding prices and could lead to extensive claims. On the other hand, if we are lenient with the contract duration and we allow excessive time, the public is denied the benefit of a needed facility. So this can be an intersection road or any a bridge project or enterprise project. Now, what method is used in scheduling also have an impact on highway construction. Normally, what is done is when the bid is circulated, the contractor is being asked to submit the schedule, and he submit the schedule, and then the work that schedule is being approved. Now, those accepting authorities must be aware, must fully exploit this scheduling method that has been carried out by the contractor. And if the method is not effective, consequently, the execution will not be okay. It do happens that sometimes the scheduling procedures is only on the basis of the paper that is to be submitted, and sometimes it has no practical application. So, as a highway agency, executing highway agency, it is the responsibility of them to fully know what method has been used and what method has been used and what are the merits and demerits of that method, and whether the submitted time schedule is realistically possible or not. Next step involves monitoring and updating the schedule. Now, this is because there are delays, and delays are caused by various factors: change orders, time extensions, and many other changes that can affect the original schedule. Now, the updating procedures vary depending on the organization. A few highway agencies request the submittal of monthly updated schedule with the contract as a prerequisite for the payment. In our region, this may be in terms of whenever the contractor is asked for the payment, we talk about running account receipt, RAR, very common word in any contract, not in highway. But now this is where the contractor submits his progress. And now, again, it is the responsibility of the authority to verify it basically on the merit. Sometimes there's a tendency to favor the contractor of some delays, and they are not being noted. They are not. The contract is paid for the future as well. So if this is the practice, then obviously the cost is escalating. And the second thing is paying too much to the contractor may result if the contractor, for example, says, that's it, I'm not going to do it. Then if you have to hire another contractor, then this will be a disaster. Because There will be some work that you already have paid and it has not been executed. So it's a very important to monitor and update the initial schedule and what's going on, right? Not on the paper, but on the site. And whatever is on the site is reflected on the paper. And it is where if it is applied in a true sprint, then it will be very easy to locate, find, erase the project right at the initial stage. The last but not least, it's about the completion of the project. And then sometimes primarily time-related claims from both parties, and but also and the liquidation damages and incentive fees. Sometimes the agency feel that the contractor has not completed his task in a due time, then they impose those penalties. Problem is, with imposing such penalties, then it may result in arbitration, and that may result in the handing over, taking over of the project. And consequently, it will be delayed to the public as well. And then the problem is, again, the original idea, so sometimes in earlier stage, the contract was not asked to pay for the damage, but then there is always a delay by the people, and it appears that court do not have a clear-cut opinion on the subject. More time is needed to evaluate the effect of scheduling procedure on this issue. It's very pertinent to address this issue of finalizing the project, close the project. So this is the flow chart. We start with the design document, whatever is designed. Then we determine the contract duration. Then we prepare the bidding document, award of the bid, submitting of the schedule, and approval. So this is the flow chart of what normally is the procedure for highway construction projects. Then once this is done, then is a project execution contractor. After approval, he has to find daily reports to notify the change orders, to notify the project completion, and ask for any time extension. This is caused because of the change orders. And obviously, the delays. Once you ask to submit the time extension, it means it's a delay. Most of the delays are because of the change orders, or maybe because of the unforeseen things in the damage of the underground utility, or some other land issues that come up once the project is being executed, or any other legal issue that cause the delay. Once the project is completing, so if it is yes, then finish. But if it is no, then starts the claim. So what are the known scheduling methods? First one we can say is a linear method in terms of bar charts, very old method. Then there is line of palace method, linear schedule, line of palace, linear schedule method, vertical production method, time space schedule method, linear balance chart. In this lecture, we discuss, I'll explain this time-space scheduling method of line of balance activity, line of balance part. Then we have a critical path method that is also a part of this lecture. It includes the arrow diagram, precedence diagram, project evaluation immediately. So let's start with this typical bar chart. It's a very common bar chart, and it is also called a Gantt chart. And this there is a time scale that has been given, and that there is a column defining all the activities in ascending order, that what should be done and what we should done after. Even though this can be very easy to understand, and it has been used most extensively in all construction projects, be it highway or be any building project. They are based on the simple concept, and each of the bar represents an activity, and the length of each bar represents the time. And then the end of the last bar represents the overall project. Like this, the project is fortunately of 16 days. So this is where we say the project is completed. So then can be a float, maybe allowed 2-inch gap or 2-day gap. All the times are given. In this project, the scale is the days. The project during, so it can be a week or it can be a month. Now, in order to calculate the float, we subtract the earliest finished date from the latest finished date. Although we can subtract the earliest start date from its latest start date as a total float. This can be also will be explained when we go through the critical part. Now, the problem, the advantage is we can see that's very simple and it's graphically visible. It's a very preferred tool adopted by almost all the agencies in field operations. And that is also helps in demonstrating the proposed schedule for construction project. The problem is, and what we can say identify the limitation is, it's difficulty in showing interrelationship and interdependency among the project activities. It does not identify critical activities that control the project, and it is not as effective in managing, controlling, and updating the schedule of the project. For example, there is a delay, then we have to revise that delay. In the field of today's computing, it's very easy, to change the thing and then reprint it. But again, it's sometimes people get lost what has been updated when. Then comes the line of balance method. I think for today's lecture, we'll discuss this line of balance method in the next lecture. Till then, Lafis, and I hope that this method, this lecture is important, and I have explained the basic concept of speech. So we'll have another lecture on line of Bell's method. Till then, Allah Hafiz.